Get ready to uncover truths and reality of today's politics. Here's your host, Lori Mills.
Welcome to another episode of Uncover California. Today we're going to focus on California, legislation, people that are running for office, which I'm super excited about, who's already elected, but that's a whole different story. We have a lot to get to, so we're going to get right to it. I'm going to welcome Tony Strickland to Uncover California. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Lori. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Tony, you and I have known each other for a long time, and you were a state senator already. Mm-hmm. You've been in the assembly already. Mm-hmm. You were mayor of Huntington Beach and currently on the city council there. Mm-hmm. You help candidates across the state, including myself when I ran for the assembly. You now have decided to throw your hat back in to run for the state senate. You want to talk about that?
Yes, no, absolutely. When you look at the state of California, as you know, Lori, that's why you ran, it's on the wrong track. Governor and his supermajority up in Sacramento want to turn California into San Francisco. And quite frankly, families across the state don't want to be San Francisco. Right. They want no part of their homelessness crisis, their rapid crime, and the fiscal problems that they have up there. On top of the fact that they can't even keep human poop off the street. So it's like they everything we want to be at the top of, we're at the bottom. Everything we want to be at the bottom of, we're at the top. This is what you get when you get Governor Gavin Newsom and a Democratic supermajority. We need to bring balance back to Sacramento. And I always say I'm going to bring Surf City common sense up to Sacramento. Because what we've done in Huntington Beach, just match it up of what the state does. In Huntington Beach, when I talk about homelessness, it's a homelessness industrial complex with Gavin Newsom. He's spending billions and billions and billions of dollars. He's not measuring what he's doing. In fact, it's getting worse. It's not getting better across the state of California. Well, in Huntington Beach, it's gone down dramatically with less money. We do what's called enforcement, and we give the homeless people the services they deserve. It's not compassion to leave them on the street and give them drugs and alcohol. And a lot of these people have alcohol or drug addiction or mental health issues. You need to get them off the streets and get them the help that they deserve. And that's what we do in Huntington Beach. And so we're one of the few cities that it's actually gone down dramatically, where the rest of California, it's gone up. Let's look at the budget. We had a $7 million deficit coming in to when I first got elected, me and what we call the Fab Four of Huntington Beach. Gracie, Casey, Pat Burns, and myself. And when we came in, we had a $7 million deficit and out-year deficit. It would have been a $7 million deficit this year. And so instead of like kicking the can down the road, we addressed it right away. And so we lowered our deficit. We created a surplus by $7 million without raising taxes. We cut services that were non-essential. And then on top of it, we passed a police and fire contract. We were losing officers because they were doing laterals, and we put public safety first, as cities should. The most essential role of government is public safety. So you take that, what does Gavin Newsom do? They change, they do the accounting gimmicks, they change the fiscal year by a day. And really, when you look at the deficit, think about how when I was in the state Senate my last year, 10 years ago, the whole budget was $98 billion. We're talking about a $72 billion deficit. They've increased spending by over 5 times in less than 10 years. And they're spending money that we don't have. And the bottom line is, who pays for that? You and I, and hardworking California families. And right now, families are having a tough time picking in between a gallon of milk and a gallon of gas. It's a really tough economic time. And at the worst time possible, what do? They're raising their gas tax again. And it's just, we need balance, we need common sense, and that's why I'm running for the state Senate. A long answer to your short question.
Do you know what, though? I love your long answer. It's interesting you talk about the homeless problem and how much money we have put towards this problem. And then you look what the unelected bureaucrats that are supposed to fix the problem are making. How much money are these people making, Tony?
They're making billions and billions of dollars on this homelessness issue. And again, they're not even measuring it. They're not measuring their success. Like any other private enterprise, you would say, okay, we're going to spend money. Look, at the end of the day, I think the best people to solve the homeless problem are nonprofits and churches and faith-based organizations. We need to make sure it's efficient. Right now, just throwing money at it is not going to solve the problem. Like when we first came in, again, Huntington Beach, we came in, the first day they said they were going to hire a homeless czar that was going to make more money than our city manager. And I said, that's unacceptable. No. Do you think that homeless czar that makes more money than our city manager is going to want to solve the problem of homelessness? I want homelessness, not to attract. I want to make sure we get them off the street. And, again, when we came in, Main Street, if anybody's been to Huntington Beach, was closed. Homelessness was everywhere. People weren't coming to Huntington Beach anymore. We're a tourist destination. We have 13 million visitors a year. If they have a bad experience, they're not coming back.
Right.
So we opened up Main Street. We enforced our encampment laws. And now when you go down Main Street, it's family friendly, and we're doing big events, and it's vibrant more than ever before. So I'm proud of the record we have in Huntington Beach, and I want to take that experience back to Sacramento.
Right. And I think you're right in this sense. Why would somebody that's making a six-figure salary want to solve the problem? Yeah. They're going to lose their job. Mm-hmm. Now, another thing I noticed in Huntington Beach the last time I was there was, and this was before you became the mayor and got on city council, there was a very heavy presence of Antifa. Mm-hmm. And then I went back to your mayor's ball, mm-hmm. and I was surprised how clean it was. Mm-hmm. Like, there's really no business vacancies that I could see, and Antifa wasn't out there harassing people. How did you solve that problem?
Look, at the end of the day, we put public safety as our top priority. We have a great police chief, Eric Parra, who's doing a remarkable job, and we put, our emphasis as a council, look, public safety is number one, and we want to make sure people are safe. And again, people don't come to your city if they don't feel safe. And so when you're a tourist destination like Huntington Beach, Surf City, USA, people from all over the world come to Huntington Beach. We have big events. We have the largest air show in the nation. We do the surf championship, U.S. Open of Surf. We have the Surfing Hall of Fame. And I'm very proud that not only did we clean it up, it's vibrant. In fact, this last Saturday, Mark Wahlberg opened up a tequila restaurant, and 2 weeks before that, Sammy Hagar opened up the Sandbar, and now you can have drinks right there on the sand in Huntington Beach. And,
oh, wow.
And all the proceeds, Sammy Hagar, all the proceeds go to charity. And so he put the Sandbar there. So when people like Sammy Hagar and Mark Wahlberg are coming to Huntington Beach, we're doing something right.
Absolutely. And, it was funny. I was down in that area. I grew up in that area, and needless to say, when I was about 17, 18 years old, I actually won a bikini contest at the OP Pro.
So you're like Gidget, right?
Yeah, I was at the time. Not anymore. Everything's gone south and east, but that's okay. But, being in Newport the other day, and it is so apparent going, and I'll take an SNL skit. We went from the 73 to the 55 to the 405 to the 105 to the 710 to the 5. And the difference you can see when you cross that county line into LA is palpable. Mm-hmm. People are being drawn to Orange County because you guys are getting tough on crime. People that were against you running, mm-hmm. what is their response been to the cleanup that they have seen? Are they starting to wake up and realize that their policies don't work?
No, I don't think that they think that. End of the day, I agree to disagree without being disagreeable. There's some folks who just look at life in a different way. The end of the day, you look, we have results, and
right.
And we look at our results. Look at the results that Gavin Newsom has up in Sacramento. Deficits, homelessness everywhere. People are not getting the money that they do spend in taxes. The right. highest tax burden any other state, and we get less in services. Look at our educational system. And we're the highest tax burden state in the country. It's unacceptable. Right. That's a failure of leadership. And again, it comes down to leadership. And yeah, we're showing results. Not everybody is happy with those results. But
they like crime and homelessness.
I learned a long time ago, you're never going to please everybody. And right. At the end of the day, I know I can look in the mirror every day when I wake up and when I go to bed and be proud of the kind of leadership I'm providing for not just Huntington Beach, but now we become a model for other cities. In fact, Oceanside is coming over and looking at what we're doing in terms of homelessness in other cities. We've led the charge. I'm the author of the first voter ID initiative in California.
And I want to talk about that.
And that's spreading around across the state of California. We're doing things in Huntington Beach that have now spread to other cities across the state of California, and that's showing leadership. And again, that's why I want to go back to Sacramento, because nothing against people who are in Sacramento. I just think that I have a different perspective because I did serve 10 years in the legislature. I was the first Gen Xer ever to get elected. I got elected when I was 27 back in 1998. And with that 10 years of experience up in the legislature and the relationships I built on top of the executive leadership of being a mayor of a major city in California and the results that we provided, I think I can take that voice back up to Sacramento and bring balance. And that's the key. Is like right now there's zero balance up there.
Right.
And common sense. Like common sense and Sacramento just don't, they're not there. And look, California's worth fighting for. A lot of people say, well, why don't you move to Texas or Idaho or Florida? I said, well, I'm not the one that should move. The people who screwed it up should be the ones that
moved here that weren't from here in the first place and screwed it up.
Well, the ones who are in policies right now, like Gavin Newsom should be the one that leaves. Like he's the one that messed it up.
Well, I think he wants to leave. I think he wants to run for president. But
when only Gavin Newsom, when he is left San Francisco, a disaster, gets a promotion to go up to the governor. Like usually when you do a bad job, you don't get a promotion. And we're going to do whatever we can to make sure Gavin Newsom's not president, because the last thing the United States needs is his leadership. What he did to San Francisco and California, we can't afford to happen to the United States of America.
I agree. Now, he doesn't like you in so many ways. I remember was it an Assembly Bill 9? What was that one where they wanted to do the high density housing? SB 9.
Yeah, well, it's a push to us to, what they fundamentally wanted to do, and this is what they want to do all around. And by the way, this has been happening for years, even when Jerry Brown was governor the first time.
Well, it's what Trump said. They want to bring the city to suburbia.
Well, what it really is a war on the automobile. The war on suburbs. They want to urbanize California. They want to turn all of California into San Francisco.
Right.
And so they have this mandate in Huntington Beach that we, pretty much do, because we're 95% built out, another 5% in wetlands, areas that you can't develop. And so what they mandated that we put in these low-income housing that would equate to 50 high-rise, high-density buildings in Huntington Beach. That turns a suburban community into an urban community overnight.
Right.
Well, nothing wrong with urban living. Like I almost moved to New York out of college, but not everybody wants to live in an urban lifestyle. In fact, some people like rural living and some people like suburban living. But what really in California is this utopia that they have on the left that says, oh, everybody's not going to drive an automobile. They're going to do the electric bikes and they're going to go shopping on electric bikes and they're going to do this mixed use and live in this high-rise building and they only shop downstairs. And it's this like, it's this like crazy notion, but by the way, it's been happening for years.
Right.
There's a reason why we have the highest car tax in California. There's a reason why we have the highest gas tax in California. And there's a reason why when they spend money in the infrastructure, they're doing all crazy stuff like the crazy train, the bullet train that is going from nowhere to nowhere.
$270 billion now?
Instead of that money being spent on road maintenance and road construction, they don't like automobiles and they want to get you out of the automobile. Now they think by taxing all this that people will get out, and we're just now realizing another increase in the gas tax. Well, hardworking families, that's who it falls on the worst, disproportionately on hardworking families, these kind of taxes, especially the gas tax. So now, again, as I said before, people are having to decide between a gallon of milk and a gallon of gas because of these utopia unicorn ideas that Gavin Newsom has to make everybody an urban city. Californians don't want to be in San Francisco, otherwise they would live there. And by the way, have you been to San Francisco?
Actually, I was up in Burlingame.
I used to love going to San Francisco.
Right.
They've ruined that city. That city used to be the most beautiful city in the world, and now it's a mess. It's just a mess. There's no other way to put it.
Right.
And that's not natural causes. That is government caused.
Right.
And that's Gavin Newsom caused. And yeah, no, I'm going to push back. As mayor of Huntington Beach, And I always say that I am not going to let you turn Huntington Beach into San Francisco.
Yeah.
And my citizens are behind me 1,000%. This is a fundamental fight. We like our suburban coastal community that we have today. And we don't want your problems of homelessness. We don't want your problems of crime. We like the way Huntington Beach is, and my past predecessors did a good job at building out Huntington Beach. It's a beautiful suburban coastal community, and we want to keep it that way.
That's interesting. You know, I was up at Burlingame for the last convention, and we took a walk outside the hotel, went to an actual boardwalk area, and the mismanagement, the trash, the overgrown weeds, it was like nobody had touched it in years. And of course, we're kind of watching our back because we know that there's a lot of crime up there as well. Now, I want to delve into something else that you are doing that I would love to see go nationwide. Voter ID. Let's talk about that. What are you doing?
Well, this is simplistic. 80% of Americans, a Gallup poll, across the country, Democrats, Independents, and Republicans, support voter ID identification laws. Look, when you need to show your ID at your supermarket, and you need to show it to cash a check, you need to show it to get on a plane, you need to show your ID almost in all parts of our lives. And something that's fundamental is voting. Think about this. In the last 25 years, 3 presidential candidates have challenged the outcome of that election.
Right.
People forget. Gore,
Right.
Hillary Clinton, and Donald Trump. And so look,
Yeah.
our democracy does not work if people don't have faith in that election. And 80% of Americans think that this is a right way to go to bring accountability into our election system. Because again, if people don't believe in the results, our democracy doesn't work. So look, the bottom line is in Sacramento, it's not going to change from the top. Gavin Newsom and Bonta and those folks are not going to change it. We need to change it from the bottom up. And so I'm the first author of a voter ID initiative, and we brought forward to the voters in Huntington Beach, passed overwhelmingly, even with the Democrats spending a lot of money and a lot of effort and a lot of time trying to kill it. We passed in Huntington Beach, and so we're going to have voter ID come the 2026 election. Now, what was the response after the voters voted for it? Well, Bonta's suing us. It's a frivolous lawsuit because, again, it's in our Constitution.
He's suing the people.
He's suing the people and the city of Huntington Beach for passing voter ID. Well, it's in our Constitution that allows cities to do municipal elections. It's in our state constitution. By the way, Bonta's already lost. He's not a good lawyer. He's already lost the last 2 cases against Redondo Beach and also San Francisco on their local election laws. So he's coming after us saying, well, it's not legal. Well, he knows it's legal. It's a frivolous lawsuit, and he wants cities to just capitulate. Well, we're not going to capitulate in Huntington Beach. So we're taking them, and we're ready for that fight because we know we're going to win that lawsuit. At the same time, Senator David Min, again, Bonta says it's illegal. David Min now is creating a bill to make it illegal, and it's going through the legislature. Again, this is a senator that's going specifically after Huntington Beach to say you can't have voter ID laws because they don't agree with it. Well, the people agree with it, but not David Min. So he's going after it, and I said, look, it's worth this piece of paper that you write on and throw it in the garbage. When you send your bill making it illegal, we're just going to ignore it and say, hey, look, the bottom line is we have this in the California Constitution. The only way for them to change this law, and I told this to Senator Min eye to eye, go do a constitutional amendment. You do a constitutional amendment, you can change it. I would love for him to do a constitutional amendment and put it before the voters, voter ID in California. I would love that because the people of California will vote for voter ID. I authored that when I was in Sacramento. They killed it all the time. They're not going to change it from Sacramento. So our goal is to do it from municipal election. So we're doing it in Huntington Beach. I'm encouraging and really challenging other city councils across the state of California to do your voter ID in your city.
Right.
Because that's the way we're going to get it done in California. But also, this allows other states that are blue states that don't want voter ID laws, those municipalities in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, you name the Arizona, those municipalities should do voter ID in their municipal elections as well. And that's how we're going to change it, from the bottom up, not from the top down.
And bravo. You know as well as I do, when I ran for the state assembly, my son got out of boot camp. He mailed in his vote, it never arrived. We've got big election problems. I do not trust our elections.
Well, look, the fact of the matter is we don't change the voter rolls. There's a lot of times as young people, they move a lot, and you see that they're registered in 3 different locations, and even when you inform the elections office, hey, this person's moved, you still get the ballot mailed to you. Think about it, it's a crazy system. So you're automatically registered, whether you want to be registered or not, from the DMV. Before that, they said driver's license for illegals, and so now you automatically have you're automatically registered. Now they do all mail ballots, whether you want the ballot or not, and then they send it, and they don't clean up the voter rolls. And what happens? Like again, in my post office, I look down, I see 2 or 3, 4 live ballots in the garbage because they look at it, it's not my name, they throw it away, and that's a live ballot.
Or do they?
Well, and then you add ballot harvesting to that. And you're asking for a system that is easily you can cheat pretty much you can cheat in that kind of a system. So we need to close those kind of laws, and things like voter ID I think are very important.
Okay, so cities can do this. Can counties do this?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I believe counties can. I believe counties can, but I'm not 100% sure. But I believe counties can as well.
Okay, so what do you say to leadership in cities and possibly the county? How do they find out more about doing
just
this?
Go to my email tstrickland@tonystrickland.com. I'm happy to get the research into them and do whatever I can to help.
Okay.
I've been talking to other council people who are talking about voter ID. They're also talking about pulling out of the League of California Cities, what we did in Huntington Beach.
What is that? Tell people what that is.
So all these cities, they spend money out of their tax dollars to join this group called the League of California Cities. Well, the League of Cities, as of recently, haven't been representing cities as they say that their mantra is. They've just been doing the heavy lifting for Governor Newsom. One example is this Proposition 1, this last March ballot. It made it harder on cities to deal with sober living homes. And they endorsed it and campaigned for it. Well, it made it worse for cities, but they campaigned for it, and it barely passed. If the League of Cities did not campaign for it, it would have failed. And so they made it harder for cities to deal with a very important issue in a lot of cities, especially Huntington Beach, the sober living homes. And so what we did in Huntington Beach is said, look, when you start representing cities again, we'll come back. But until then, we're out. And so we said we're out. And after we said we're out, Newport Beach followed us. The city of Orange followed us, Yorba Linda followed us, and a lot of municipalities around the state have followed us because, again, they're not representing the cities as they say they do. They're representing Gavin Newsom. And until they do, I encourage. In fact, their number one issue this November is to go after the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association and our fight for taxpayer protection. And taxpayer protection is just saying truth in advertising. If it's a tax, let the people know it's a tax instead of this attorney general being able to do title and summary and saying, you're going to kill people if you don't vote for this initiative. And they don't say it's a tax.
Right.
And at the end of the day, their number one issue is to go after the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association so they don't get money from the people of Huntington Beach. We're out. And until they start representing cities, we're going to be out.
Good. I hope a lot of people follow along. I know I set up a little meeting for you soon, I think, isn't it next week?
Yes.
So hopefully we can get that 100% Republican council on board to do the right thing. It's pretty amazing, too, that just we're seeing such a pushback. Like when it comes to these initiatives and Prop 1, when we see that on our ballots, they lie about what it is. And even when I ran for office, they lie about who the person is. They don't, run on the policy. Is there a way to make these bills that end up on the ballot more transparent to what they actually are instead of putting a fluffy name on it, pretending that you're...
Or a double negative, and they say if you vote yes, it means no. If you vote no, it means yes. Yeah, it's confusing. And what the Democrats in Sacramento did. And I always say the Democrats in Sacramento because Democrats in Huntington Beach are more sensible in Orange County than the Democrats in Sacramento. they're way out there. When
they want to
electeds,
transition children at 5.
Yeah, and again, it's the truth in advertising that they try to do double negatives, or the attorney general has what's called title and summary, and he gets to put the title on it. These things, and the other thing that they did is they put all now initiatives are on the November ballot. So you're going to get, 12, 15, 20 initiatives. And I remember my dad, when I was a kid, if there was too many initiatives, my dad just voted no. He's like, it's easy just to vote no.
Yeah.
What they've done, the reason why they've done that is because a lot of major initiatives have passed in primary elections. Prop 13, 3 strikes initiative. And so they wanted a November ballot. So now we're overwhelmed with kind of the initiatives that we're going to see in this November ballot. And as you said, truth in advertising, there's going to be so much money spent on all these initiatives. It gets confusing. What I recommend is you go to someone who's very involved, that knows what's going on, and kind of give ballot recommendations. Like I do, by the way, for judges. A lot of times people call me, hey, I don't know who to vote for judge.
Right.
So what I do is our DA, Todd Spitzer, is a really good, strong DA who I have utmost faith in fighting for what I believe in terms of public safety. And I go to people who have that experience, who know all the judges, deal with the judges day in and day out, and get their recommendations. And I always think it's smart to go to people who deal with these folks day to day, and then you know who the good judges are and the good bad judges, and know how to vote.
Right.
And then spread that word on to the citizens.
Well, I'll tell you what, our 30 minutes went by super fast.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
It went by really fast.
Tell everybody where they can find you, where they can donate to your new campaign, and social media, anything like that.
Yeah, just Strickland for FOR Senate.com.
Okay, spell that for people.
STRICKLAND FOR Senate SENATE.
.com. And you guys donate to his campaign. We've got big goals for him. And again, we need to take back the state. We need checks and balances again. Social media. Is there anywhere you want people to follow you on social media?
We're starting to build it for my campaign.
Okay.
I literally just launched. You're early in the process. I just launched about 2 months ago.
Yeah, I heard the rumor.
Yeah,
and then I called you.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about going back up to Sacramento. Again, Sacramento needs Surf City common sense back up there, and that's what we're going to do. And my leadership skills from my 10 years of experience in the legislature, along with my executive skills as mayor of Huntington Beach, bringing that experience up to Sacramento, I think it's exactly what we need at the right time.
Well, I thank you for your friendship, and I thank you for your time. You mean the world to me, and we'll see each other soon.
Keep fighting, Lori. Keep fighting.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Raise a glass to patriotism with Republican Red Wine, our new sponsor. The perfect choice for patriotic Americans who want to make a statement with every sip. Let your love of country shine through with each delicious pour of this bold, flavorful wine. Enjoy our one-of-a-kind limited edition labels that are sure to become a conversation piece. Join us in celebrating America and all that makes it great with Republican Red. Use promo code Callie for up to 15% off.
Welcome to the MAGA Mall. We have the largest selection of the finest quality MAGA caps and Trump caps that are made. We have over 250 hats and 1,000 different products in 28 product categories. All the caps are made from premium cotton twill. Everything on them is embroidered. As a matter of fact, in the last election cycle, we donated over 45,000 caps to Trump-endorsed candidates and conservative causes all the way across America. And you can buy any of our products by going to our website. It's at themagamall.com, like on the sign over here, and use promo code CALI, and that's for Uncover California. That will get you a 10% discount off of all of our products and also help this worthy cause. And remember, it's always a MAGA day at the MAGA Mall.
Welcome back to Uncover California. Today I've got a really special guest I'm super excited to bring in. You know, California, if you don't know, the assembly is our Congress here. And fortunately for us today, I've got the minority leader, James Gallagher. Welcome to the show, James.
Hey, Lori, great to be with you.
So tell us what's going on. Just a couple months ago, Kevin Kiley, who used to be with you, who's now in Congress, sent out petitions to all of us, and we scrambled and we got signatures to get rid of Prop 47, which has been a nightmare for retail crime and criminal activity in California. What's going on with this now?
Yeah, so just like you said, I mean, we went out there, and the grassroots citizen-led effort, led to 900,000 signatures to put an initiative on the ballot that would reform Prop 47. Finally, we've been talking about this for years. We've been saying this is a huge problem. It's the reason that we've seen these spikes in crime, this surge in California, not just, petty theft, but even violent crime. There's been a 13% increase in violent crime just in the last year, and it continues to rise. And you combine that obviously with, the release from prison policies that passed that, release, tens of thousands of felons from prison, most of them, not rehabilitated and back into our communities. All of this policy has been really bad, for our communities, right, and for our safety. So they got this, ballot. It's going to be qualified. It's just a matter of when, right? And we're expecting that qualification to come soon.
Can I back you up for 1 second, though? Can you explain to the people that may not know what Prop 47 is and what it did?
Yeah, so Prop 47 was passed a little over 10 years ago. Jerry Brown, the governor at the time, was really big on this. And what it really did is it changed a bunch of things that used to be felonies, a bunch of crimes that used to be felonies. It made them into misdemeanors. And the whole idea behind it was to stop, sending people to prison and actually release more and more people from prison. The real reason is they were under a federal order at the prisons, and Jerry Brown's response to that was, not to respond to that order, but rather just release people from prison, just get people out of prisons and basically make things not criminal and not subject to accountability, right? And he overloaded, there's another policy called AB 109 that overloaded our county jails because it shifted people from federal prison to county jail. And so our county jails were overloaded. And now you add in Prop 47, making things into misdemeanors. There's no room at the end. So essentially people that steal, serial thieves that steal every day, there was no consequence for them anymore post Prop 47. Now, the crazy thing about it is, and you guys may have remember this, it was billed as, it was even called the Safe Neighborhoods and Communities Act or something like that. Completely ridiculous. That's not what it did. And in fact, now we've seen the scourge of crime, in our state, and people have said, hey, you lied to us and we're not going to take it. We're going to change this thing. We are going to make sure that, we make the reforms that are necessary to bring back accountability, or as Kevin Kiley says, make crime illegal again in California. Right. And so that's all moving in the right direction. And then here we go, Gavin Newsom and the legislative Democrats here in Sacramento are now trying to concoct this scheme to lie to the voters once again. And so here's what's happening. We have this bipartisan package of bills that are pretty good. They actually help the situation. They try and tackle, say, auto theft, and smash and grabs of vehicles and things like that. Cargo theft. So there's some good bills in there, but they don't finish the job by any means. You gotta reform Prop 47. So what they have concocted is this scheme where they're going to add an amendment to all these bills that says these bills will become inoperable. They'll be basically rescinded if the Prop 47 reform initiative passes, right? So they're making it into kind of an either or. Well, if you want these bills, then you got to not vote for Prop 47. And it gets even worse. If they pass these, what we will probably see is Rob Bonta, our Attorney General, who supports all of this crazy stuff, supports Prop 47, releasing people from prison early. all of that stuff. He will probably rewrite the initiative and say, if you vote for this reform that we all want, that we've all been working on, it'll say on the ballot title and summary, if you vote for this, it will repeal the retail theft package that we've just passed here in the legislature, right? So it'll be designed to confuse voters and make them think like, oh, if I vote for this, it'll actually take away the things we're doing to tackle and stop retail theft and the theft we've seen in the state. It's all designed to confuse, to distort, and they want to lie to you again, just like they did the first time when they said, oh, Safe Neighborhoods Act. Now they want to have something on the ballot that they can say, oh, if you vote for this, it'll repeal tough on crime policies, right? It's Gavin Newsom's MO. We have to stop it. And so that's what we're working on right now, is to just call this out, big time, and put the pressure on, Democrats in the legislature, put the pressure on Rob Bonta. Do not rewrite this initiative. Let the people vote. And so that's what we've been busy with, I guess, over the past week.
Well, I appreciate your work on this. It confuses me a lot because I can't understand Democrats when they want to be so soft on crime. Their families are going to be affected by this too. It makes zero sense to me. And it's kind of like the Prop 1 that we all just voted on, where yes is no and no is yes, and they put a fluffy title on it like you're saving puppies, and at the same time they're saying they're going to deal with the homeless problem, yet what we have are bureaucrats making six-figure salaries. James, tell everybody why the supermajority just tends to get away with this so much, and why we need more people in the assembly on the Republican side to get some checks and balances again, because we sure don't have them now.
Yeah. So what happens is, now that we have, the past, 6 years now, we've had a Democratic supermajority in the legislature, and what we've seen is just crazier and crazier bills that keep getting passed into law, like bills that allow basically legalized prostitution. Like you can't get arrested for soliciting yourself on the streets. That's a bill that passed. It passed by one vote.
And that puts children in danger as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And a lot of DAs have called this out. This it enables human trafficking of minors.
Right.
Because the pimps are the ones that are behind all this, and they've seen underage, mostly girls, on the streets that they're, soliciting out on the street. Even in Oakland, of all places, there was a Catholic priest that runs a school there, and he called this out because this was Senator Scott Wiener, that passed this bill. He's actually behind most of the crazy stuff that comes out of Sacramento. But he called this out because essentially he's saying, hey, man, now I have young girls that are being prostituted right outside my school. So this kind of crazy policy gets passed. We also saw they banned domestic oil production, essentially, so now we're even more reliant on imported oil from other countries, that don't have very good, human rights records, places like Venezuela, petro dictatorships. Right here in California, we actually are we are resource rich. We have oil that we can produce here locally. It creates a lot of great jobs, but they're basically trying to shut that down, right? So all these kind of policies that raise our cost of living, right? That make it even harder for us to, pay our utility bills, to pay gas. Our gas is the highest, I think, except for Hawaii, right? And they're landlocked, right? They're an island, right? Ocean locked, right? Sorry. So we have all these things that are just making it so hard to live in California, right? That they keep passing, and so we got to do something to change who's here. Right. And this has been big, as you know. Lori, you ran a great race last time, very close. And we were close. And so we're trying to get good people to run up and down the state and win in these seats. And we see a great opportunity because I think people are fed up. They're tired of what they're seeing. And nationwide, the momentum is building. Look at President Trump. And when people look at President Trump versus, Joe Biden, it's real easy to say, look, we know what we had 4 years ago. We had prosperity, we had more jobs. The cost of living was right. We had peace. we had so many different things that people can easily look and see the difference. And here in California, they can look and say, look, we've had, now about 2 decades of Democratic control. What's that gotten us, right? Like, what has that really gotten, right? Your parks aren't safe. There's criminals that are smashing and grabbing in your cars. There's people that are getting assaulted. You don't feel safe in your own community, right?
Right.
Your cost of living has gone through the roof. Housing, is getting more and more impossible to afford. So Democratic rule, supermajority rule, has destroyed California, and I think people can see it. And so I think we have a real opportunity in this cycle, right, to go out and reelect President Trump, and then let's win seats here in California, man, to start turning the direction in the right way. I mean, as you know, the president was just out here, and he raised $12 million. He raised $12 million in San Francisco, right?
Alone, right?
Yeah, it's alone. I mean, and then he went down to Southern California, had some great events there as well. But that just shows you, like, I think people are ready for a change. And we've been talking about this in the legislature. We've been trying to show the difference between, reasonable and crazy, right? The Democratic supermajority they're crazy. They're out of touch. They think Prop 47 is great. That's why they're trying to protect it. They think that, you're not paying enough taxes, right? That you should actually pay more, right? They think that the gas, being so high is good because it'll get you on your bike. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff, like, these are not people who live in reality, right? And so I think we've got a great opportunity to show that Republicans have a better answer, and that, hey, help us win, in these critical seats, and we can start turning this state around.
So state Senate, state assembly races, very, very important. Now, in a story that just came out yesterday, I wanted to ask you about with all this climate nonsense, is I heard that they want to remove a lot of Joshua trees now to put a big solar farm, and that's a national park. There's, it's funny when they talk about climate crisis, yet everything that they do hurts the climate. As far as I'm concerned, trees are a lot better for the environment than metals that are non-biodegradable. So there's another crazy thing that they're doing. How many, what are you seeing with this whole new Green Deal that's going on in California, and how much it's actually hurting the economy?
Here's something. What Gavin Newsom and the Democrats have been doing on climate policy is actually pro-China policy.
Right.
And actually, I think this really got underscored when the governor went to China, right? He went to China and did this big visit, right? And what do we have going on in China right now? They're building 2 coal-fired plants a week, right?
Yep.
They are not, abiding by the same rules as us, right? They're not trying to reduce, carbon emissions. They're building 2 coal-fired plants a week. They're manufacturing. Where are we getting our solar panels from? China. Where are we getting these EV vehicles, in a large part that they want all of us to be mandated to drive, electric vehicles? China, right? And so here you're doing all this stuff that's actually supporting China's jobs, their economy, and what do we get? What do we get out of it? We get higher costs. We get we get higher utility bills. We get all this. So their climate policy, it's crazy, right? Like, so meanwhile, they've done nothing on wildfires. So our forests burn, because they'll do nothing to really, they won't fight the environmental agenda, the radical agenda that says don't cut any trees when we need to get in there.
But then they will for solar panels.
Right. But then, so then you go to that irony, right? Here we are, we're going to cut down all these Joshua trees for a huge solar farm, right?
Right.
And look, I'm not against solar energy. Fine. Solar energy is fine. But, like, there's a lot of other energy that we can be. We should be building nuclear. We should be building natural gas plants. That's what keeps the lights on in California, right?
Right.
And they're actually pretty clean. They're actually pretty clean burning. The technology we have now, we can actually do biomass plants that create hydrogen. The problem is we've picked winners and losers, and this is what Democrats do. This is what socialists do. This is
Right.
what communists do. They pick winners and losers, and they decide who gets to succeed, and they put all the government subsidy and support behind, only the people that they like, right? And meanwhile,
Right.
like, let's talk about the batteries. When we're talking about environmental, like, you're cutting down
Lithium.
job trees, and where do you get this lithium? Where do you get this cobalt that fires all
Right.
these batteries? Well, they do it with slave labor, number one, in a lot of these countries, and they're destroying the environment, with the mining practices that they have in many of these countries, right? But they
Right.
never talk about that. They just talk about but at the insult to injury is that we all end up paying for it. We pay the cost of
Right.
all this, and we don't get to live free, like we should in this great country that was founded upon freedom, instead as a country based on mandates, right?
Right.
And high costs, and it's making it so the California dream was built on freedom. That's what it was built on.
Right.
It was built on
People
freedom and
came
the
here for opportunity, and the opportunities are sliding away from the people. A couple
exactly.
years ago in 2022, we had Measure A and B on our Ventura County ballot. It overwhelmingly passed to drill oil, and they still
Right.
shut it down. They still shut it down. I can't think of a good policy that the Democrats have passed in the last 10 years. I really
Right.
can't. There's no
Right.
common sense. And I remember also in 2022 that they raised the gas tax twice, and then they put a committee together to find out why gas prices were high, and now they're going to raise the gas tax again. And we have
Yeah.
a failing grid. How does this work, James?
It's insanity. I mean, and you can't make this stuff up, right? Like, yeah, this committee that was going to look into, well, why are the gas prices up? Well, we know why they're up. It's because of government policy. $1.28, is the average of what we pay in just government fees and regulations. So when you go to the pump here in California, you're paying for that, right?
Right.
Over and above the actual market for the gas prices. The governor keeps saying he's going after the oil companies and the bad oil companies. No, man, the problem is you. The problem is you, Gavin, and your government, that keeps
Right.
taxing people and makes everything more expensive. They've also, because, like we're talking about, they're shutting down domestic oil production. By the way, like, when it's produced here locally and goes to the refinery, it's a lot cheaper to get it to the market, right? But
Right.
instead, we're bringing this over on oil tankers from other places. That increases our costs. They won't build any new refineries, right? So all this stuff just increases the cost and the price of gas. That's the true cause of our spikes. And Gavin acts like he's surprised. He knows. He knows what the real
And
truth
tax,
is.
tax,
Oh.
tax, tax, tax.
And you're right. They're going to raise it again. This cap and trade policy they put in place, the carbon fuel standard, is going to raise it. Well, the low carbon fuel standard, the Air Resources Board came out in a report that said, yeah, that will probably raise the price of gas another 50 cents a gallon, if you can believe it. And then you add in the cap and trade system that adds cost to all of our costs, but including gas prices, that will increase the price of gas also. So we're looking at, again, another big jump in our gas prices when we're already struggling with some of the highest costs in the nation. That's what these guys do. I mean, it's a dumpster fire. I mean, nobody can say that what the Democrats have done in the state has been a positive for Californians. It's been nothing but negative.
And people need to understand that when your gas prices go up, so does your grocery prices. It ties into everything because you've got to ship the goods to your stores. That costs the truckers more. They're going to raise their prices and everything else. It's, and it's concerning to me that we also have this failing grid. The grid isn't
Yeah.
being worked on at all. And yet Governor Newsom wants everybody to get an electric vehicle and plug into this grid that's failing. How does that
Right.
work?
It
just
can't
doesn't
work,
make
right?
any
He knows
sense.
that, and it's like he said that, right? I mean, during the heat wave when we were about to have the lights go out, we came very close to all the lights going out. He said, "Don't plug in your EV vehicles this weekend."
Right.
Yeah, and yet he
Right.
wants everybody to have them. It makes no sense. And again, and you're right on. Like, we could have an energy system, we could have an energy policy that allows for a diversity of energy sources, right? that allows
Right.
for, not just solar and wind, but like all the different types of energy that would be, and it would lead to actually more affordable prices. This is the key thing for people to know. If we had our way and we could push forward true energy diversity in this state, it would lower everybody's costs, right? It would lower your
Yes.
utility bills. It would lower your gas prices. It would lower your grocery prices, right? Because all the stuff that you get that comes to your grocery store is shipped. Usually
Right.
it's brought by truck, or it's brought by ship, and they run on fuel, right? So like if we had a true smart energy policy, diversity, diverse energy portfolio in this state, like we should, right? It would lower the prices for everybody, right? And so that's what
Right.
we should all want, right? If we had accountability in our criminal justice system, then we wouldn't have people just walking into stores and stealing, like it's nothing, right? With no penalty. We would actually say, hey, look, if you commit violent crime, you go to jail, you go to prison, right?
Right.
If you're an illegal immigrant and you're here and you commit a crime, you get deported and you go home. You don't come
Right.
back, right? And that shouldn't be a hard thing to say, and that shouldn't be a hard thing to do. We've tried to push that here in the legislature, and it's like these people don't get it. People that commit crimes here, they want to like keep, here in the country, right? And you saw last week, we did a motion, to bring to the floor Bill Saley's bill, that would have said, look, especially if at the very least, if you're someone who's committed crimes against children, you should not be
Right.
protected by sanctuary state policy. That is crazy, right? And yet the Democrats, none of them, would even lift a finger to stop that, and would even lift a finger to bring that to the floor, for a vote and actually, change that policy, right? And so that's what we're dealing with, and we
Well,
need different people.
what's crazy about that too, James, is in Pomona, according to an HHS whistleblower, 80,000 migrant children went missing. And we're talking about these kids and them making prostitution legal and all these other crazy things, making us a sanctuary state to change a child's sex, which is child abuse in my mind. I just can't even get my head past this one. Do they just sit there, the Democrats, and think who can come up with the craziest bill to shove down everybody's throats?
It sure seems like it. And that's why, I mean, look, if we start to do what I think we can do, one, it will make these legislators pause and say, hey man, we can't
Right.
keep doing this. I mean, that's what I hope. But even bigger, we just need to change who's here, right? Because that
Right.
is the kind of stuff we have coming out of here, right? And it's not good for kids, right? It's not good for our education. I mean, look at our education system. We're trying to make sure that, all this woke agenda, gets passed through, but our kids can't even read at grade level, right? Like
Right.
less than 50% of our kids, this is a fact, are reading at grade level in California. But we're worried about whether or not they'll get to school on an electric bus. Like our priorities are like so wrong, right?
Right.
And then we're saying, hey, parents should have a right to know, what's going on with their kid at school, like if they're going to be going by different pronouns, right?
Which
Um,
are stupid.
if something is going on with my kid at school, I want to know about it. Period.
Yes.
If my kid is having any kind of issues, then yes, you need to tell me. I'm the parent. This is just common sense, right? But
Right.
yet in this world, in this current world with this Democratic supermajority, they actually think that counselors and administrators at the school know better than you, the parent, right? No, I'm sorry. We are going to stand on this. We're going to fight on this, and I think the people are with us on that issue, right? I think they're with us on all of these issues, and it's time. It's to me, it's ripe. It's ripe for change here in California, and I think if we all are working together and we're focused and we help support these candidates that are running, up and down the state. Obviously you got Ted Nordblum down your way. You've got Patrick Gibson,
Is
who's running a great,
fabulous.
great race down there. Christy Bruce Lane, in San Diego, Escondido, San Marcos. Lori Davies is in a big fight, also down there in northern San Diego County. So look, I mean, I think these are all awesome people that, we're trying to help make sure get across the line and help us take back the state.
Okay, so let me ask you this. How can the audience help you to help these candidates? Is there a place that they can go to go donate to strengthen your position? And, whether they're donating directly to the candidates or to the assembly, is there somewhere they can go to do that?
I mean, like obviously, one thing you can do is certainly you can give financially, and what I would say there is like, hey, number one, I go give directly to the candidate, right? Give directly to the
Right.
candidate that you support, that's in your area, that's trying to, that's trying to change things, right? That's important. I listed some of those candidates I just talked about. I think Christy Bruce Lane, is a great one who's really working hard. For example, but give to those candidates directly, is where I would start. And then I'd say, hey, maybe a local central committee that, if they're out there working and helping to get that candidate elected, you can give them resources and they can provide additional
Right.
resources to help those candidates. You can give to the state party, and you can give to, certainly, help support people like myself who are trying to help, go help other candidates. I will win my reelection. I feel really strongly about that, but I want to help
Yeah.
other people get elected, and because that's the only thing that's really going to help change California in the long haul. But the other thing is like
Right.
simple things like you can get a call list, right? You
Right.
can get on. We have different software programs where they'll give you a call list that you can just even from your own cell phone, you could call into a district and make calls to voters in that district and say, hey man, we need your help. We need to make sure you turn out to vote this time. Turning Point has got a great
Turning Point
program
Action.
that Charlie Kirk has put together. Same thing. You can get on there and you can make calls. Like so, we have that through the California State Party too. Like so, all
Yes.
these things are ways that we can help turn voters out. And then I'd say, look, the other thing is just, man, it's just that neighborhood politics, man. Like going and telling your neighbors how important it is to be involved in this next election, right? People that are closest to you that like will go, oh man, I didn't know you cared about that this much, right? And when they hear it from
Yeah.
their neighbor, I think it means a whole lot more, right? So we
Right.
can do this even in our own little neighborhoods, man. Like going down and walking a few of your streets and just talking to people and telling them the importance of getting out and helping support our efforts here. It will make a difference. So there's so many different things you can do, and I would certainly encourage your listeners who I know are already really engaged, but let's take it up a notch, because I think 2024 is a great opportunity for us, and we can really start to see the change here in California.
Yeah, so the bottom line is this, folks, is we're in a position right now in this country that there's no room to be tepid. There is no room to sit on the sidelines and wait for somebody to fix things for you. You need to get involved and you need to take your state back. Nobody's coming to save you. So our time, James, went super fast. I'm super happy I got you to come on. Is there anywhere, social media, where people can follow you?
Yeah, I mean, so you can follow me on Twitter or X, right? I'm on Instagram as well, and Facebook. So I'm on all those social media channels, and I also, have my own website, as well that you can find online. I'd also say we also have a website called Fix California,
Yeah.
Fix California, and so you go on that like it's really coordinated. Like both the Senate and the Assembly are working on our proposals for change because we're talking about not only like do we oppose the Democrats' policies because they are bad and we all know that, but we're talking about hey, here's what we can do to actually change the system, right? How we can
Right.
fix California, and so we're trying to like bring all of those things together, right? Like all of those things together and organize people around ideas, right? Around ideas that
Right.
we know are solid. So, certainly, yeah, visit all those things, follow us, and then help us, more importantly, help us get the job done here in 2024 and turn California around.
Okay, well, send my regards to your beautiful wife and children. And I
I
really
will.
appreciate you being here. And I hope to talk to you soon. Keep fighting for us. I truly appreciate all of your hard work.
No problem. Thank you, Lori.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
Talk to you soon.